All right. Thank you very much. The Community Engagement Commission meeting, Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, 6 o'clock. Let's do a little roll call. I'm here. Robin Beckdahl.
Here.
Bill Norman has messaged me to be excused, so we can excuse
Make a
Bill.
motion that we excuse Mr. Norman from tonight's meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Arlene may be in progress now.
Any opposed? Okay, we've excused Bill. Arlene Fisher,
Who seconded?
Leah. Arlene, are you there? Okay, we'll loop back, but she's here and she was on the phone. Leah Stussy.
Present.
Logan Langford.
Present.
Hi,
It
Logan.
worked.
And
Hello.
Hello.
Martha.
Here.
Here. I think we're waiting on Arlene, but she's here as far as we can tell.
We will.
All right.
Will be.
Okay, agenda. Do we have any agenda? Aha, Robin.
So I'd like to start out into the agenda because of some occurrences that I've had at the farmers market. We all live in different neighborhoods. So we have neighborhood updates. Let's start providing them. And tonight I'll start.
Great.
And then I'm getting a lot of questions on, remember when I think in June we were supposed to do the town hall for the library, and then we switched it to Winter Glow, and I'd like to have some further discussion on that because I'm getting questions on what is the status, what's the progress, are we going to have it? So.
Okay, can we make a specific motion to add a neighborhood update in the agenda? Let's see, where do we want to put that?
I have after D.
Let's say, all right, let's make that a sort of a D1. And then town hall for the library, a D2. Okay, can we have an official motion for that?
Make a motion that we add the two suggestions from Miss Robin for the neighborhood and the town hall.
In D1 and D2? Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of update to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion and,
Did I hear Arlene there?
Yes, I'm here.
okay, it passes. We've got some agenda updates. Okay, minutes from the meeting on the 21st.
No problem.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from May 21st.
No second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the meeting minutes? Approving them.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Minutes are approved. Public comments. Do we have any public comments online? We don't have anyone here.
Good.
Okie dokie. City Hall updates. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the City Hall updates?
One thing I want to expand on, and it may go to some questions some of you may have had on some of this. I know a little bit more information now about the pop-up event that is happening on Friday related to the Parks and Arts Commission, or the Parks and Recreation master plan survey. This is being, that particular event is being spearheaded by the SCJ organization out of Spokane. Members of the Parks and Arts Commission will be there. Basically, I think they've got a table set up, or they're also possibly just going to be approaching people who are there at the park for that morning to let them know about the master plan, try to get them involved with doing the survey, which we have online on the homepage. And I guess my suggestion for this group is, if any of you have time to do that, this is on a Friday. It's a work day for many of you. But if any of you can be there at any time during 8:30 to 11:30 this Friday, if you want to assist the Parks and Arts Commission with this, if you want to assist SCJ with this, great. but it's also an opportunity for you to learn more about what this project is by doing what they're doing that morning. And then you can be the, one more multiplier out there in the community with this, which is part of what this commission is charged to do. And then I listed some of the other dates, which are also on this handout from SCJ that I also emailed you. The rest of these are events that are general public events that are happening throughout the summer where there's going to be some kind of a station set up where they're also trying to be letting people know about the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, as well as, again, trying to recruit people to do the online survey. I found out at City Council last night that the original deadline date for that survey online was going to be sometime in the middle of next week. It has been extended. I don't know how long it's been extended for. I will say this, they do not have the numbers of respondents that like the library survey did a month or two ago. I don't think anywhere close yet, because the library one was fantastic with the numbers, beyond fantastic.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah,
From what I've heard at farmer's market when I've been working there the last couple times. People are tired of surveys. Yeah, honestly, they're just.
and that's not the only one that's out right
We
now.
have pumped out so many surveys.
Sure.
They said, no, I'm done. I mean, so, Mark was questioning last night, he didn't know why the latest survey from the parks was, not getting good responses. Well, and I'm just saying what people have been telling
Yeah.
me, so just to let you know.
Just on that, did you hear any suggestions from the public of how they would want to get heard? Did it come up at all? Anyone have anything alternative, or they're just sick of surveys?
They're just tired of surveys.
Yeah, sure.
And,
Sure.
cause, I'd come up and here I am, I'm having them, here's a QR code.
Okay.
And another one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And granted, this is in the first half of the year, I believe at least the fourth one.
Yeah.
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 One of them was that big one.
Mhm.
Sure, sure.
So, okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay,
Can we skip back to Winter Glow for a second?
sure. We're still on updates.
Okay, so I read all the stuff that we're not moving forward with it as it is. Do you think that we should try to engage with the community about if we can't have Winter Glow, what's the future of having some sort of holiday celebration in the wintertime and what they would like to see? What are they willing to pay for?
I would say that's a very valid question to put out there to the community. There are lots of ideas going on right now. It's very much in the early stages because, the message you saw only came out, last
Yeah.
Friday?
Friday.
What I did hear at City Council last night, and this was actually brought up, I'm going to give you the exact quote.
Parks are working.
Regarding Winter Glow, I think this came from the mayor. Shoot any ideas to Jen or Mikhail.
That's what they
Jen
said.
Camp is our Parks and Recreation head director. And Mikhail Stevens is our Is our recreation coordinator.
Yeah.
director.
I saw Mark at the town hall. Did anybody else go?
No,
Okay. I just have to
Well,
okay. When I signed in, I was kind of a latecomer to the meeting. When I
I'll go
came
there.
in,
Yeah.
on the sign-in sheet that I signed in on, I think I only saw maybe one or two people had checked. I would be willing to volunteer I feel
17,
like this-
17 people checked it.
out of the 45. Yeah. So I think that's the heart of the matter where it's, people want to enjoy the thing, but they're not willing to do the work. And it's going to cost a tremendous amount of money if we don't have volunteers. And
Well, Leah, just to let you know, I was part of it for 6 years.
oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
It's I went to Winter Glow last year. It is an amazing display and
Tell you, what you just said, lack of volunteers. That's why there's no more Winter Glow,
yeah, and
because of the fact that everyone just thought that.
well, and I think everybody assumes that the service clubs will just take it on. The service clubs our membership is dwindling for one.
Big
We're trying to recruit more members.
The only
and-
service club that showed up last year was Kiwanis.
Okay.
Yeah. And we went to all three, we went to all of them and I said, hey, would you help?
Yeah.
And the only one that showed up was Kiwanis. So,
And it's kind of the same thing where, you know, a lot of the members are getting older and
Yep.
it's harder for them to do sort of strenuous things like that. So I don't
but
know
we
if,
did have a lot of young kids out there from Ridgeline High School that came out and helped, which was surprising, you know, at least, but that was only on one day.
right. And that's the manpower thing. You have to have somebody who can do all the planning and the organizing and has the know-how of whatever. So even then, with Winter Glow, it wasn't going to be an easy handoff anyways. So
Do we know, considering other options that, city leaders will be considering other options? Do we have any idea of what, before we go to Jen about that, anything that's come up already about what a time frame would be to try to get stuff to them, ideas to them?
I
Is it-
haven't heard a timeline yet, but
Okay.
of course, the
Obviously,
sooner
it's
the
a-
better.
Sure.
we're
I'm just
6
wondering
months out,
if
5
if
months
it's
out.
realistically on the table, if we feel like, or if it's kind of not. I think I'm just trying to sort of read the room
I
there
think
about
there's
that.
gonna be some this year,
'Kay.
but it's probably not gonna be as buoyant,
Sure,
you know?
sure.
And I'm not even sure it's gonna be incorporated on Orchard Park. I think it may be
Yeah.
incorporated around the Light Up Liberty Lake.
Sure.
The tree.
Sure.
And something like that. I don't know. I talked to Jen today about it and we're gonna have further discussions week after next. And, you know,
Okay.
she called me
We'll just-
for my input and I also talked, emailed back and forth to Mikkel about Santa Claus and that, so they are working on it. So,
Okay.
Just
Okay.
to let you know.
Since you've kind of, I mean, for obvious reasons, been updating us on stuff, can you just keep updating us on whatever's going on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually going back to Leia's initial comment, again, be the multipliers on this. Have your ears out there to listen to people, find out what they're saying, and then communicate that. You could communicate it to me if you want to, but I heard, again, at City Council last night, shoot any ideas to Jenna McCann.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
I can relay any comments to those two people if you need me to, or if you want to do a direct line to Jen or Mikhail, they'll take that information, they'll take those ideas. And yeah, like I said, we're 5, 6 months out of something, but I think back to the year Adam West died, TV's Batman in 2017. He died in the month of June. And literally within 3 months from that point, the town of Walla Walla created an Adam West Day celebration that drew in hundreds of people that September. So great things can happen in a short amount of time. Greater things can happen in a longer amount of time. So the sooner the better.
We need a
What if-
bat signal is what he's saying.
what if we set up like some sort of sign up on the website for like community core, where you could sign up for the community core to be alerted of like volunteer opportunities on how to help out the city. Cause like I went to the bike swap and they were collecting, you know, names and emails for people who wanted to help with trail maintenance and stuff. So every once in a while I get an email about, hey, here's our upcoming opportunities for helping out trail maintenance. Just throwing it out there to try to cast a wider net to get volunteerism on the projects that we do have.
What was that word you used, community?
Core, like CORPS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, but I don't think we better overstep our bounds. I think we should follow the lead that the mayor has directed.
Well, no, I mean, just
Everything to-
just for things, I'm not saying that we create it, but we like, maybe take the steps to create a way that people can raise their hand and say, hey, I'm willing to help with that stuff. So they don't have to necessarily go to a meeting and sign a paper that says, yes,
No,
I'm willing
that's
to
what I mean, that's
volunteer.
what I mean, but that's not.
And doesn't have to be just Winter Glow. It could be other events that we have going on in the city. Like here's a way that you can give back to your community if you don't want to serve on a commission or whatever. If you want to be able to help out for different community events, you know, sign up here and we'll let you know about upcoming opportunities. I don't know.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before and I don't think we've gone further with it. So I think it's great. Yeah, figured out.
Want to add to what I said about the 17 people who checked the yes box, I would volunteer. We did have several other people who checked neither boxes, but they gave us their email addresses anyway. I'm counting those as potential yeses.
Okay.
We've got their contact info, right?
Yes. Anything else for updates? Or from the sheet? Okay, initial, yeah,
Again, I want to put out a pitch. If anybody has stuff to put in the farmer's market binder to rebuild it, give me your ideas. We can print them off here. I know Bill is going to be doing some of that too. We do have a replacement binder though, just needs stuff in it.
um, just quickly, I guess, before we move on, I know we had talked about, movies in the park. Initially, we had mentioned a QR code to surveys or something like that. Do we have anything that we think along those lines? Could be surveys aside. Do we have anything that we want to try to incorporate with movies in the park this year?
Is there, my concern about that, I'm not, jump into what the review and discussion of the events that I was in charge of. The only ones that we aren't involved with right now are the movies
Mhm.
and Thursdays out at Rocky Hills
Mhm.
with the food trucks. I'm leery of us getting involved with that because do we have the volunteer base? I mean, just
Sure.
with our commission, I look at the people that are showing up at farmer's market. There's not very many, and that's what, if you can't make the farmer's market on a Saturday morning or Saturday late morning, how can you make it to the movies on a Saturday night or Rocky Hills on a Thursday?
Sure.
People are busy.
Sure.
And that's the concern that I have, I don't want to set something up, have the city put up a tent and no one show up.
And I guess
The
before we,
next question that I would have, I don't mean to.
no, I just didn't mean to stick it there. I just want, I guess my main thing before we moved on from the updates is if we needed anything to go into the podcast, if we needed anything kind of that needs to be in update land
Yeah.
about some of this stuff.
Yeah, the thing is that the other thing is what would we do there?
Mhm.
What would be the
Sure.
topic of the week or whatever,
Sure.
It's the same old thing, so.
What would be the favorite ice cream flavor of the month?
We've done that enough.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
This weekend's gonna be the favorite pizza topping, right?
Yeah.
Before we officially move on from updates, is there anything else that we think we would like updates on? That we could bother David about or anything else? Cause I personally, this is one of my favorite little things to read. Cause I'm a nerd. But yeah, is there anything else that we want, any play-by-plays or is there anything missing from this?
I think the city council, I think that's the best one.
Yeah, I do too.
City update, and then, as for the commissions, go to their meetings if we want to find out what's happening.
That's what I think. Go watch them on YouTube, go to the minutes.
Because they're already.
Read it.
Sure. For all of our viewers that need
Yeah.
the summary right now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's move on to discussions in business. Initial review and discussion of CEC's 2025 annual report.
So David, where's it at? I thought we would have it.
Was I supposed to print that out?
Yeah.
Would you like to move that to a later agenda item and I will go print it out?
That sounds like a great plan.
Apologize.
Everyone okay with A going down a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, B, review and discussion of events for a CEC presence. We kind of talked about this a little bit and your feelings, Mark, but any other thoughts?
I'm open for anyone's suggestion because, that seems to be unfortunately, the direction that. Everything, it sounds great. Let's do it. But then when it comes to the rubber onto the road.
Sure.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, I personally would have signed up for more, but I have to do Rotary.
See?
So I'm gonna be at six
Yeah.
farmers market shifts between Rotary and
Absolutely.
CEC,
Absolutely.
so.
She's president of the Friends of the Library.
Yeah.
She's trying to run on a campaign,
My thing is I do a really good job when there is a specific ask for an event that either makes sense to bring my kids to, is something I'm already bringing my kids to, or is in a time when I'm not busy with that. And I've tried really, and if there's a real ask that no one's going to show up, I jump in for that. And I've kind of reserved that energy for if we don't have anyone, I'll show up at those. And so far that's worked pretty well for me and feeling like I'm stretched as thin as I can be. When we get more into the real summertime, it's a little easier for me to start doing things. We just kind of ended school and all that. So I get excited about this time to start participating. And everyone's got their own version of that. I think that's,
Sounds shorter for you this year. Cause they start, don't they start in after the first, the end of August?
no,
They're
no, not
moving
mine.
It up a couple weeks.
I have a
Oh,
different, I'm
oh,
different.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Hmm.
But yes, it's shorter and that's a good thing. Well, kids get bored.
Sure.
Yeah. After food, I bet they do, yeah.
Aw, boredom's great. Okay, well, I think we just continue to say yes to as much as we can. Be as present as we can be at things that aren't official events and just talking to neighbors and doing what we can and showing up at every meeting that we can and getting as much
Well-
information as we can and passing it out.
We're manning up with that. Breakfast, right?
Yeah,
Okay, have we got people signed up for that?
I think I am signed up for Barefoot. If I'm not, I will be.
I haven't seen the sign up sheet.
I haven't seen this.
I haven't, I haven't.
I'll be there.
I've done the barefoot booth
Yeah.
every single time. And I would say anyone who has kids who is going to barefoot at some point, it is really
It's
easy to sit at that booth and have your kids have a central place to check in and put their shoes. And it actually works out really, I find that works out very well, actually. It's sort of a natural meeting point, and I felt like my kids coming up to the booth to check in with me was a lot of opportunities for people to start talking. It actually worked out very well, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you can stay there for as long as you want, and I don't know, I think that was great. We've done,
So question, would it be inappropriate if I were planning to attend one of these events with my kids just to throw on my like CEC name tag and just, go do the C thing because I'm going to be there anyways and not necessarily
Absolutely.
have it signed up as a ship? Okay.
yeah. And I did a little bit more of that last year. It just kind of worked out because I didn't know if I could sign up for something, and it didn't seem like that was going to work out. And then I ended up being there anyway. And that was great. It was
Okay.
great. And very natural and normal. And I think in the spirit of what we're doing, a lot. So I'm here for it.
So David, when are we gonna get the sign up sheet for Barefoot?
Let me ask, because I don't know the answer to that yet.
Okay,
Did we have one? Did we not have one?
no, I have not seen one.
I've
Okay.
not seen it yet.
Okay. I guess I just sort of planned it in my own agenda.
One last year, I thought we just.
I
There-
signed
there
up
was one
somehow.
last year.
Someone did?
Or we just agreed to it, because I specifically remember writing it down with Bill, that kind of thing. Do we know yet? Probably not. What activity Parks is maybe doing at a barefoot booth? Have we talked about that? Like they've done rock painting
I heard
before?
rock painting at the city council last night.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, anything else on events? And I think we're all kind of in the same place about it, and I think we've kind of beaten it to death. Anyone else care?
Done beat.
Okay.
Okay. I signed up for my 4.
Woo! You sure you don't want 5?
I did not sign up for any of was it the parks? Yeah, that they asked for some of that. Just,
That's fine.
yeah, because I'm going to be next door at the Rotary booth for a couple of those
Yeah, there
too.
you
So,
go. Yeah.
Good.
If we get a barefoot sign up sheet prior to the next meeting, I'll send that out.
Sounds great.
There you go.
Okay, let's, does anyone need a second to read things? Do you want to kind of read through some of it, Robin, for us? How do you?
So, especially for Leah and Logan online. So every year we do an annual report, and our bylaws say this has to be a part of, be turned in and submitted prior to August. So our activities and the report goes from August to August the prior year. So this has been the format that we've been using, and this sort of came up when we first had to do our first one, and we quickly got it done and we refined it. So we've been sort of staying with the same template. And so I started to draft out some of the accomplishments that we have done. So for example, we developed a town hall meeting on the future winter glow. And I always say what we did, assisted in the development and promotion. Then we always looked and said, okay, the results of this effort, how did it results? Because that's the only way we get our metrics almost is, what did this result in? So for that, that's what I put down for the winter glow. And then the second one was supporting the planning department and the public engagement of the development of the comprehensive plan. That'll be ongoing, and we are doing or helping them out at the farmers market with that and partnering up with them. And we won't probably know the results of this effort until maybe more toward, I think that's going to be an ongoing effort, actually.
Say if I don't come up until probably next year.
That's what and so something like that would say results of this effort will be ongoing and then the next one I just said, oh, save the space. Forget, that was just me on my bullets saying
Sure, sure.
save the space
Sure, sure.
or something. I was thinking something will come up.
Sure.
So, and maybe this will go in alignment with, remember in June, we talked about the Liberty Lake Municipal Library Town Square Town Hall meeting, and then, so that was replaced with the Winter Glow. That was fine. So I guess we have to discuss that. Maybe we can just move that up now. I guess, is there going to be a town hall? We have to go back to the city council and ask them if that's now where we're going, or because there's been a lot of different actions that have been taken place with regards to the diversion of the funding, and will there be a town hall? And I'm also getting asked some questions because we have quite a population in Liberty Lake that is library, they're advocates of the library. So they've known that we said in June, or they look at me, you said in June, okay, it got replaced by Winter Glow. Okay, Winter Glow's over. What next?
This is great as always, Robin. Thank you so much for doing this. I would say, adding to accomplishments, something along the lines of they've had town halls in the past. I feel like we kind of brought back town hall meetings, and our first one was one on transparency. So I want to make sure that we include that as one of our accomplishments.
Okay, wasn't that though in last year's? I think that was in last year's.
It's August,
It
August,
was
right?
after
I
August.
think it was held 1st of September.
Yeah, it was the beginning of, so that to
Okay.
me starts our sort of timeline of stuff.
Okay, yeah, we had a town, okay, thank you.
Town hall and transparency.
Whatever day the debate.
Yeah, exactly. The 4th or whatever it was. Anyway. And then as far as the finding out, we can figure out if city council wants to do a town hall meeting on that, how can we help on the library? How can we help? And what does that look like?
Mhm.
I still think that a lot of the purpose of these town hall meetings, it's great because we get to hear what people want, we get to hear the response to everything, but it's also an opportunity to educate. And this is a perfect opportunity. This is one of those things where a lot of people, there's miscommunication, there's a lot of stuff that's changed, timelines. And I think this is, if we are tasked with something about that, I would love if we could say where we're at, where we've been already with this, what are actual real options, on the table. And it could still be, or anything else you decide, but here are the steps to do that so that there is, no matter if there's 50 people who show up or 10 people show up or 100 people show up, those people will understand how they can make change or what to expect, or just something along those lines, so that, to your point, it's not just a constant, we're going to get we're surveying people and then your answers will or might not change anything. Because at this point this is another one with Winter Glow, regardless of what they said, it was a no answer. The answer was a no. which whether people wanted the no answer or didn't want the no answer, I think just for our sake, every time we have something and the answer is a sort of a no or a negative or a not moving forward, I think it's going to be harder for us to continue to ask people for their opinions. Again, regardless of if the outcome is personally positive or negative to the audience member or the community member. I just think that the more education we do too, it really is an opportunity. It's as unbiased as possible. Because there's a lot of things that people have no idea. I mean, even just the stuff that's like, is that county, is that city, that kind of stuff. I always learn a lot about that at anything Mark is addressing or anything that city council when you actually sit and listen to. So I guess I'm just kind of pitching for some education or where we're at, update kind of thing.
I think you hit the nail on the head though, because for one, city council meetings have to follow like a very specific format. They're very formal. You have to sit through and listen to everything on the agenda, and your thing might be last, and or when you do your public comment, and you may or may not hear anything back. I feel like it's the opportunity for much more direct communication with the public, and that education piece is really, really important.
Okay.
Kind of skipping around just my initial notes on this. I know you got rid of the multimedia production special projects.
Well, we've been having on there for 2 whole years and we can't get any place and I got squashed.
I'm
I
back.
got squashed.
I'm back, Robin. I want a history video. No, but I really.
I do too.
Here's the thing. I really think it's important because we don't know when the opportunity will come up. No one said no to it in our budget. I don't see why we can't ask for it. And it's a pretty broad ask where we could be using it for different multimedia projects or whatever. I feel the same as you about a lot of it. I really think that it's important. I just don't know when it's going to end up working out for us, but I would hate to see it leave our budget. If they come
Okay.
down and this is too much and we're not going to approve your budget, maybe that's the first thing to go, maybe.
Isn't that what I told you?
Yep. That's what Mark called up and said, leave it in. I said, okay, we'll talk about it.
Tell me ahead of time. It's just a real vibe.
Okay, let's leave that in. How does everything else look on mailers, flyers, event supplies?
I was fine with it if anyone's got any good
Fine,
ideas.
too, yeah. Because the price of, we've already checked with the Splash, we're good within, it's still within our budget, because nothing's gone up. That's what I should say.
One thing I think we could add and add some additional information is on page 3. Well, that's page 3 anyway, under other. I think, yeah, CEC supported staff in 2025 barefoot, supported the mayor and city council at the farmer's market. I think we could add some more things in there too. So think about that.
I would also say for the budget portion,
Oh, okay. The budget.
a little bit maybe of I wouldn't mind a true recap of what we've actually spent on our last budget. Maybe it doesn't have to be 100% itemized, but if we want to say, if we want to speak to that on some level that we've what I don't know. I don't have the answer right now, but I wouldn't mind if we're really gonna give a report, speaking to that a little bit.
On which one again? Under I
Just-
know you said the budget. I'm sorry.
Yeah, on the budget, the items that what we've actually,
Oh, so actual
for
spending versus
2025.
projected.
yeah, I'd like to see, just speak to something on our previous usage of our
Okay.
budget
Okay.
allocations. Again, I'm not saying I want to see a fully itemized. I don't think that's in our favor. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I don't think that really helps our narrative much. For narrative's sake, I think it'd be nice to speak on it.
What was used from the budget and how? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Or Robin is a wordsmith and a planning genius. She might come up with something else. She might be sparked to think of something.
I'll think about it.
Anyone else other than just some homework and to sort of let this sit and send stuff to Robin?
Yeah, so send it to me before we have our next meeting. so that we can go back over it again, please. That's all I ask.
Okay. Okay, thoughts about the community not being heard? And I'm just gonna step out for one quick
Wait.
second, so don't, was that?
You're not doing C?
Oh, I'm not. Oh, CEC membership requirements. I'm gonna step outside for 1 second. I'll be right back in. Yeah.
I think at the last meeting, we decided to kick the can down the road a little bit.
So, too.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
I was just gonna leave it the way it is for right now.
That's what I thought so too.
I feel like we need to wait for applications to come in before we
I agree.
try to change anything.
Take that one off the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
So the consensus is,
Leave it the way it is.
Leave it.
Why don't we just skip to you, Robin, and DA? Yes,
This? Yeah.
what, she's back.
oh, Robin, oh, she's back.
I'm back.
Okay.
Kids and
Are-
microwaves.
So we're gonna go to D1. Are we gonna talk about D, the thoughts on that the community isn't being heard?
But now it's the president.
Oh.
That hurt.
How dare you?
I feel like there's a disconnect between people thinking that they're being heard and realizing that you can be heard and still not get your way.
Sure.
Because like the gentleman that came by last time, I completely sympathize with his stance and, you know, the disruption with the nuisance smoke in his home. It would drive me crazy. I have asthma, but at the same time, you know, it's somebody's personal property. I don't feel like there's a good answer.
I agree.
There was a big discussion about that last night.
I haven't gotten the chance to watch the,
It's-
stuff yet,
it's-
so-
It's interesting, but bottom line is the city is just gonna wait on it. The state's gotta do something first.
yeah, I have to go to the,
Yeah, really sticky when it comes to law enforcement.
to the EPA,
Yeah.
basically.
No, and you're right. I mean, part of our ask and part of our reality is that we're just the first stop for someone or the last stop for someone, right? It's always going to be that way. We're either the first person that they communicate something to, and it's our job to pass it on. And sometimes it's the opposite. They've not been heard or responded to by anyone. And we've seen that. We've seen emails. It's like, hey, I tried this person, I got no one. Here it is to you. And I think so far what I've seen is we've done a really good job of engaging personally with whoever it is. Again, educating them on what we know and what the realities are that we know, who really is the best person to talk to. When it comes back to us, then we have some sort of responsibility to then go back to that person and just at least be the mouthpiece for that. And I think we've done a really good job of it, and I'm proud of us for that. At the same time, I do think that the disconnect as a community hurts us, right? But also for our group hurts us, right? Because people are just going to kind of write us off also, with just not being listened to. So I don't know. I wonder if it's just going to take more time, if we have to come up with some creative ideas. There's always going to be one-offs of things we can't help, right? But in general, I think the more we have town hall meetings, the more we can help city council with whatever they perceive as a problem, however we can. I think the education is a big part of it, because we've set our piece at that point. We've made it really clear that this is the pathway to help and lots of opportunities to help. Beyond that, I think we have to get super creative, but right now I think we're kind of on the right path to that.
I think the public often doesn't know that in government, we are often hamstrung by a lot of like regulation and stuff. I saw it with specifically like with the school board, people are, you know, are mad about, you know, certain curriculum and blah, blah, blah. And the school board only has so much control over that. Really what they have control over is setting the budget and, you know, hiring and firing the superintendent. They don't really get to say too much about what the curriculum and stuff like that is. And so parents get upset, and it's just a limitation under the Washington State Constitution and the rules of the OSPI. And the same thing happens here, that there's there's things that we have to do a certain way just because of the way the statutes are written. And if they want to have those changes, it's gonna have to go way further up the chain than just the city.
Well, I think, and when we did the, here's how to connect with, here's how to, legislation, education, right? We did that a little bit after town hall stuff. I think that was awesome. And I think if we can continue to do things like that, have very clear, direct, and not to pass the buck to somebody else, but to really let someone figure out how and why and how they can actually make a change, what they should do. I still think a lot of people only show up. I mean, obviously they only show up to city council meetings when there's a hot button topic that they
We have
care
an axe
about.
to grind.
But I think that it's kind of been brought up before. I know we don't have control over this, but it is really disheartening. Obviously you can speak your piece. This is, the same way everywhere, right? We're not unique here to that, but you can speak your piece and then that's kind of it. And whenever you have something really on the agenda, it's often pushed to kind of a later place in the meeting. And I think the things that people are interested in are often kind of buried behind some more city business sometimes. And I think that kind of adds to the problem. Just, again, it's the nature of a boring city council meeting. To me, I think it's fun and I love nerding out on, the, protective footwear of public works, but not everybody does. So maybe that's a more one-on-one conversation with city council and how can this be addressed? Again, I don't have the answer right now, but maybe there is something that we can do or we can think of, because times are changing and things are a little different and people are watching online and, I don't know, maybe there's something.
See, now I have a different perspective and I just think nobody follows up. I mean, even though may not be the answer person wants to hear, but they don't maybe necessarily follow up. There's been different things that have come up at the farmer's market. I write it down, we may hand it to whoever, and there's no follow-up. And then they come by and say,
Remember?
yeah, and
Well,
nobody.
maybe that's on us to do some follow-up. Maybe because we brought it to city council, we say, what is the answer we're getting to this person?
Well, it depends
So,
if it's
or-
a
or maybe
planning issue
you-
or a parks issue or a,
So maybe you get their email and you CC them, the citizen and the person that you're sending it to, and you stay involved in the process rather than just doing handoff. That way there's just a little bit higher level of engagement and accountability there.
Sure. I will say when it's come to me like that, and I think a lot of times we are brought in an email and we do kind of stay along that, but at a certain point it is completely outside of our scope. It's, we've kind of done that already. So, I'm almost wondering if there's something in our updates, some place where we're really, again, not maybe specifically going point by point about each email we've got from each citizen, but I still feel like our update to council could maybe have some other elements to it, and maybe that's a place for that. It's like, we've gotten a few emails about this topic or that topic, maybe not calling it out by name. I'm not sure, but maybe in our, maybe it's in our update, in our report to city council. If it's appropriate or makes sense. I don't know. Maybe that's just one more level. But again, I can see that not being responded to.
yeah, I
Um,
can easily.
But I'm trying to think of other avenues to kind of stay on things a little bit.
Because there's a certain point where we can only be the conduit, and then somebody at the city does have to take that. Whatever the situation is, over and see it through, and then get back with us and say, this is how we solved it. That's how, because we can't be speaking really taking any corrective action. We cannot, I mean, we're very limited. So as I see it, it's for us to do exactly that. Be the conduit, see where it's at, have the city personnel, whoever that is, take that issue, settle it, and then get back to both of us so that we know how it was settled.
For our next report to city council, when do we,
I was gonna mention that at the end, but I think it's time to do one.
okay, so could we
I
have?
think it's July 1st is the next meeting.
Okay, could we have something along the lines of problems, suggestions heard from the community? Something that isn't just about our meetings and what we're doing specifically, but sort of loosely representing people who don't want to show up at the meeting a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, well, if we have anything that would be appropriate for that, maybe we should think in that direction. If anyone has anything that they get in the meantime that isn't being heard, again, and you don't have to, whoever's giving the report can make it very clear that we're just doing what we do here, and giving something one more opportunity. Again, if it's appropriate, if it's not a very specific topic, just bringing it up in some way that makes sense. Do we just feel like they're not going to listen no matter what? Is that what we're?
A part of me says that, yes.
Okay.
They're not gonna listen. I mean, it'll sort of resonate part way.
Is there a way that we can make them listen? Is there a way, are we always just going to be at this place? Do we, I mean, are we just resolved that they're not going to listen, or do we have any creative measures or?
Well, this goes to you people being the multiplier again
Sure,
from the other direction.
sure.
You have the power to take that information you hear from residents, multiply their voices to the city council members.
Right, which is, yeah. I'm just wondering if there's anything other than just repeating it or adding to it a little bit. And maybe we don't have the answer right now. I don't know. I would like to think of a creative way. We've tried to do, workshops. I feel like that's helpful a little bit-ish. Last one was, I think that was rough. If we're gonna do a workshop again, I would hope it doesn't look like that in a lot of ways. But what came from it, ultimately was a town hall meeting on Winter Glow, which I think was important. Whether it went the direction it could have, or I don't know, but that did come from it, and I'm glad that it did. I'm glad that people understood for the most part that Winter Glow is in jeopardy and that we have to do something about it, and kind of, I don't know. I'm proud that happened and that we were able to help facilitate that in some way. Okay, well, if we don't,
I think we should still think about that.
okay.
Because I don't have a direct answer. I mean, I have my own personal perspectives, but.
Well, your perspective is,
I think we should still think about
Okay.
how can we?
okay. I just think you represent, a lot of people probably feel the same way, so I think that's probably important. Okay, do we, membership requirements?
No, that was already discussed and we were just gonna leave it as is.
Okay. Date change for July meeting. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm so sorry, D1, I knew it. I'm looking at it and I'm reading, neighborhood update.
Well, we're ever gonna get back, and I think the library town hall is important. Or is it the neighborhood?
Neighborhood update, then
Update,
then
yeah.
town hall,
And then
yeah.
the town hall, okay. So what I thought was, everybody has a copy of this. Arlene and Logan, can you see this?
Yep, sure can.
I have to be sort of funny here. So what it is at the River District. So I thought we all live in different neighborhoods, and the only way that we're going to know what's happening in each neighborhood is to say, here's what's happened, here's what's going on, because ultimately somebody at the farmer's market has always asked me or something, and one of the things they've asked always about was what's happening up there at the River District at the Knoll. And no, they don't even call it the Knoll. They just say up there by Harvard and the cross street. So this is called, in the River District, it's called the Knoll. And it's called what that stands for is North Liberty Lake.
I thought
And-
it was no Liberty Lake.
It could be, but I'm just going by, it could be, no Liberty Lake and X this out. So,
But that's the way the river district, unfortunately, that's the way the river district feels sometimes. They feel like they aren't part of Liberty Lake because that I-90 is the.
it's sort of the separate.
Separate.
Mm-hmm.
When we built Kramer, well, when Kramer was built, we felt that that could have been one
Mhm.
way of bringing it back together. And I think it's helped.
I think
But
so.
I
Yeah.
still think there is a disconnect between the city and the river district.
Yeah, I think so, a little. And so hopefully to bridge it though.
Yeah, and it's something that won't happen overnight, but
Mm-mm.
yeah.
But
I think it's
in
getting
time.
better.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Me too.
So I went to a little neighborhood meeting because I really had to find out what was going on in the Liberty Lake area. And so there's Harbor Road and Indiana Avenue. And they're doing quite a few little things out there. They're doing their welcome center and then they're having a little artesian district. Get it? Artesian, that's where the brewery's gonna be. And an outdoor plaza and amphitheater. So they talk about this on the back page of what they're doing. Putting in a small boutique and hotel and the outdoor plaza, the four screen community cinema and wine bar, little artesian district. Yeah, that little, they're gonna have grain shed breads and tamale box. And I remember people asking me at the farmer's market, when's the tamale box gonna go in? Well, that's gonna soon open, probably this coming month or next month. That's what they were telling us. So, and then they're gonna do another trailhead development along with the new restroom facilities and a little park around adjacent to the Ripples Park they're developing. So I thought it'd be good for this group to have a copy of this so that you knew what was going on in the neighborhood. In the case that anybody would ask, you might be at the farmer's market or you just might be out in the community.
Can we have this in the binder for the farmer's market?
Sure.
If you send it to me, yes. I can't print this one out on on my own.
Here you go.
Take a
Take
copy.
it. There you go. Thanks.
So anyway.
That's
I
perfect.
even, so I asked Jeremy that day I was there and I asked for extra copies because I was thinking, you know, the next time people ask me about the Knoll, then I'm just gonna give them this and say, you know, here's some of the things and just show them where everything's going. And I really liked how they did it. They explained it. They told the construction dates, gave it a map. And I
Well,
thought
even
that was well.
If you don't have a handout, you can share that visitnoel.com
Yeah.
website for more
uh-huh.
information.
And you could do that too, but
There'd be another survey there too.
I don't think Greenstone does surveys too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did get quite an other stack of handouts and they gladly gave them to me. I said, so I'm gonna put them into the basket in case anybody asks.
Awesome.
This is good, and, you know, you're a little fortunate, you know. Us that live in the ghetto,
I know.
it's established, there's really nothing going on in our neighborhood, honestly.
Oh, but
Like this, that,
Yeah.
you know, and the reason why. You know, we, you know, the only thing that's happening in our neighborhood, and I've talked about Sonny and me, is that. Across the Mission, there's 250 apartments going in,
But-
and it's gonna make a nightmare with the traffic.
somebody asked me though about that at the Les Farmers Market.
Wait, where is
And-
this?
It was
By, you know, where you know, where or the.
Meadowwood is at.
Meadowwood Tech,
Yeah,
okay, over by, the Huntwood,
yeah.
okay, there's all the. Have you noticed that? the
Okay, so
apartments
right there over in the river, not the river, the Rocky Hill Park neighborhood, they're putting in more, okay,
Over there, it's in the tech area.
okay.
But I still
it's
think
off
that that's
Mission
your
that they're doing it?
neighborhood. Yeah,
Oh.
and
okay.
they ask about that.
Right now, pull off of Moulter or Malvern, right, I live on Malvern. Pull off the Malvern, come to Mission, there are times that I've had to wait 3-4 minutes because of traffic. And they haven't even started the people out there.
So I've lived here like 9 months, and in that time, I think I've seen 3 rollover accidents in the roundabout there at Mission and Moulter from people going too fast
fast.
on Mission, usually coming from that direction.
Well, that's why they put the stop sign at Country Vista, four-way stop there, Country.
I did
Vista.
notice that. Yeah, I don't drive down there
Well,
often,
the
but I did
residents
notice that.
Lost one of our residents there. about
Oh,
4
really?
years ago.
Mm.
But I do think that that's important that when things just of that nature around your neighborhood happen and that we start this neighborhood update, so we know, we just know more information.
Love it.
And then when, if someone asks us at the farmer's market or another event, we have an answer. But I knew that departments were going in. I know that Mission is the road's being reconstructed.
Yeah, they're gonna go, it's an overlay.
It's an overlay.
It'll
but-
be all summer.
But I was asked about that too, and I said, oh, that's an overlay. I just happened to remember that. But I think in our prospective neighborhoods or whatever, or any other, we should let each other know.
Mhm.
What's the traffic, what do they say, like traffic changes at Moulter and Country Vista? Are they putting in?
I saw-
There's a sign up there.
There's some- it's July 1st, traffic revision.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have to ask Lisa, I think. I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, David?
I remember seeing a response from our Public Works Director on
Uh-huh.
Facebook on that. I can't remember specifically what he said.
Okay,
So,
because in the River District, they had signs up in the River District, not River District, Rocky Hills. On, this was a couple months ago. They had signs up, you know, it was they put in a crosswalk
Okay.
at Rocky Hill, and I can't remember that last street.
Yeah, there's already crosswalks there. So I was like, are they gonna make it a 4-way
I
stop?
think-
What are they
yeah, I
doing?
Remember this
No,
four-way stop.
it was a crosswalk that didn't have beacon.
Oh, okay.
yeah, and now it has a beacon and
Yeah.
somebody commented and said that was really needed.
Well, it's, yeah, that's a thoroughfare and.
So these are the things I think it's good. We take note of our neighborhood, regardless how small it is or how large it is, and let each other know as we have these meetings.
Yeah.
That's why I said,
Well, that's a good idea, you know, just to keep, you know, people updated, so when the questions are brought up, you know. We can answer them, you know, like if it was like.
That's
Or if it's out to farms,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
like that.
So,
I'm
we
sure
have-
some of that stuff is on the transportation master plan, but I don't have it in front of me to know what all those changes are.
Yeah, we don't have that at the farmer's market either, but we just have a little note, you know, notes and everything that we can answer, you know, that type of thing.
Okay.
I think we ought to. I think the suggestion Robin has, I think it should be on every month on the meeting agenda.
Yeah, of course.
Just for little
I like that.
updates.
Good suggestion.
add it.
Robin.
so this
Good
was my,
suggestion, Robin.
so next time it's somebody else's. No, I think we
Well,
just,
well,
Yeah,
Like I said,
we had a lemonade stand on, on Ormond and Maxwell.
The pothole got bigger on spraying.
Robin is right.
We had 14 visitors.
but yeah,
Time was had by all.
yeah, no matter how
Yeah,
big or
that's-
small, let's start
But kind
doing that.
of, yeah, it opens people's eyes, you know, kind of let you know that what's happening, you know, not within your neighborhood, but the city itself.
The city
Yeah,
itself
yeah.
and like, yeah, like I'm not gonna know what's happening very much in each other's little neighborhood unless someone tells me
Yeah, exactly.
and helps me.
So how far does the UGA extend? Like, is it out there way past Huntwood and like all that whole area for like housing? Where does the urban growth area for like housing and all that stuff?
There's maps, I think right before you got here, we did all of
Okay.
this, so I know it exists, because we were looking,
There's
we,
a map out there.
we'll find it for you, we'll find,
Oh, okay.
Stuff for you.
Well, maybe I just need to poke around the website.
yeah, you can poke around the website, might be fun. You can volunteer for things probably,
But there is a map.
Okay,
and
It's-
timelines, I
it's
should,
very-
okay.
Okay, so can we add a neighborhood update for the next and continuing agendas?
Yep.
Maybe that goes with city hall updates and,
No, I think it ought to be just one of our discussion business.
yeah. Do we have anything else that we want to be updated on, like I was asking before? Nothing? Okay, so how about next time around, we just put it in discussions in business? And then if it gains some traction, we can consider making an actual update, little category for it.
Sounds
Okay, town hall library, Robin?
Well, we have a group, there's many of our residents are very interested in what's happening to the with our library, and we know that initially, we had a town hall meeting scheduled for the library. Then Winter Glow did come up, and I think that was a good town hall too. It needed to be done. So now, where does our town hall? It's just something. What is this library town hall? So that when people ask,
What do we tell them?
what do we tell them?
Well, we didn't have one scheduled.
My question, what do we tell them?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Really don't know. Would
What were
this be Would
the-
this be something that we would have to?
I
put
mean,
Forth with the city council?
well, that's what I'm saying. What's the
Yeah.
process here?
I mean, has the library compiled the survey results? Where they kind
Yeah,
of,
we did that big story.
Oh, yeah. They got like 700.
yeah, so I mean, maybe it would be, they compile the survey results and say, this is what people are saying. You know, I think they had 3 different options laid out there, and maybe just say, you know, this is what the estimated cost is, and,
See, we don't know what we suggested that at our last workshop. We got shot down big time.
So that's
We ever.
that's the first thing. I mean, you mentioned we had it scheduled. We didn't get past bringing it up.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is we have to either re-ask, with, you know, we have to re-ask in a harder way and
Mhm.
repeat that we're getting lots of questions about this and people are, confused, people are interested, people are excited, whatever it is that we're reporting. And how would they like to address that? If they want to have a town hall meeting, about it, which they're gonna have to decide if they want to have a town hall meeting about it or not. So we first have to figure out if they're gonna want to do that, and we can suggest with our ask what type of participation we can have, whether that's, you know, survey results if available, whether it's, you know, models, whatever it is, we can add that in there. If they say no, they're not interested in it, then do you want to go further and try again with them in some other way? Do we want to, instead of doing it as a town hall meeting, those of us who are involved with any of the library, because there's, what are we calling this, stakeholders, commission members who are involved, do we go further in that direction, with our participation, through the consulting area, you know, things that are already open to us that we're already participating in? Do we just go a little harder there? What do we?
So what is that? Are we gonna do that in a workshop discussion type format? Or are we going to present that? I don't mind presenting it like an update for the community engagement, but I think it's more of a workshop discussion.
The next question I have is once we get that all accomplished, when would we have it? Because, you know, we talked about having the Winter Glow town hall for summer, because summer you won't get good participation because people are.
And that, yes,
So
but-
something that we can look at possibly for the fall. I'm thinking more like September.
and so that's what makes me feel that we almost need to do it in another type workshop discussion. That's how I feel.
that way we have time to prepare. Yeah.
Okay, so if we do that through emails or through communication, we can just put the ask out there if and when they want to have a workshop about that, or if they even want to have a workshop about that. The other avenue is in our report. We suggest, and I think that would be my thought, that in our next update, we suggest, again, that this is a hot topic and we need to address it somehow. How would you like us involved? How would you, you know, what do you want to do about this? And we can draft it in a thoughtful manner. Because the reality is we're being asked about it. So we have to kind of just address that on some level. I, yeah, come back to me on this one.
Can I
Well, yeah,
add
just,
to that?
Mm,
Following up on something Leah said. And Mark McAvoy, if you're out there, correct me if I'm wrong on this. The survey for the library was primarily driven by the outside consulting group that's assisting the city on some initial feeler planning stages of what possibly could happen with locating
Oh.
that facility to the Town Square Park property. As far as I know, the consulting group is still compiling the data. I do not believe they have relayed a report yet to the city council on that. I don't think it's the library staff that's compiling the data. I think it's going to be coming up again with a report to
that's my
city
understanding.
council.
Yeah.
That's probably why
Haven't heard anything.
there's not been initiation of what's happening next, because that is the next step, I think. And then dovetailing to what you were saying, Summer, I think that's a valid approach to approach the city council during the city hall update and asking, what would you like to have us do next on this? We have people who are asking our membership, what are we doing with the town hall with a library? Let us know when you want us involved with that.
Right.
And I think, again, the next step we're probably, I think, waiting on is the
Survey
report from the
results.
consultant on the
Right.
survey.
And on that, I think that if we can in our report to them or in another form of communication, make it known that we would like to be part of whatever's kind of happening, right? Right now, through the consulting, we had a little voice in that. We have little voices in that, but we just want to make it known that we will gladly help with a town hall meeting, with any type of anything, right? So we can just make it known and ask that we can uh, that we can be involved in some way so that the community can be. Do you have something online?
Can you hear me, Summer?
Yes.
So my suggestion at this point, based on hearing all of the suggestions that you all have made, is to wait until the July 15th workshop where Turner and Townsend and BCRA are going to present the options to the city council, at which time they will be sharing the survey result information and then talking about next steps, which include an open house. We're not currently planning a town hall in the same way that the previous two town halls have been planned. But if you remember the open house that we had for the original two design options for the library as it was contemplated for the legacy building, we're planning a similar type open house after the workshop so that council can have the first crack at winnowing down the options, and then we take whatever is the most preferred set of options out for public feedback. And so that's currently the plan, and all of that will be reported to the city council during that July 15th workshop. And at that point, I would say, yes, let's talk about how the commission needs to be involved. BCRA is heading up that effort. They know that you all are ready, willing, and able to plug in. They're planning to use you as we get ready to prepare the open house. But we're really at this point waiting for July 15th so that we can provide the report, provide the survey data, and then go forward in planning the next steps.
So Mark,
thanks.
this is Robin. Can I ask a question?
No,
Okay, I won't.
of course you can ask a question.
So many questions I get, of course, is and because I'm a Friends of the Library member also. And so I think that's just what I'll report to them. We need to wait until the July 15th workshop, and then other areas will be better defined on where we're going to move forward. We either, or it won't be probably a town hall, but, or an open house, and how that process then will be more refined.
Yeah, and you know, you're always free to refer questioners to Jandy or to Michaela or to me or to the library board. But what you just said is the best information that you can currently provide, because that's really where we are. We're putting the finishing touches on the option sets. We're finishing up the costing, and we're getting ready for that July 15th workshop.
Okay, then that's what I will let them know, and I think that they'll be fine with that. It was just
Okay.
uncertain, and I wanted to get them the correct information, basically.
Mark, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Okay, bang. No, would it behoove us for our update that we're gonna give on the 1st of July to mention that we are, to let the plant the seed with city council, let them know that we're willing and able to help with the upcoming library issue and situation? Or would it be better if we held off until after the 15th?
No, I mean, I would, it never hurts to remind them that you're not only ready, willing, and able, but that there is a plan in place for BCRA to use you in the engagement. And so, yeah, I would include that in the report. Sure.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, anything else on, well, I mean, it says town hall library, but just anything else on, library stuff? Robin, you good?
Good.
Okay, date change for July meeting.
Should I say something before we do that?
Well, sure.
David, we're gonna have this August Friday?
Oh, I hope so, if I can get my color printer to working.
Oh, okay, okay.
Technical
Yeah.
difficulty.
Could I make a suggestion, though? And this was brought up, I'm only quoting people that were asking me at the farmer's market. Can we make everything in order? Because it's bounced all over the place. It's
That's already done.
Oh, sorry, okay. Yeah, I told him I would bring it up.
Part of that one was because of sizing and placement of the depths of some of those items. I think, if I remember, I don't know, I did that 2 months ago. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, I thought.
But it's somewhat sequential.
Okay. And then the other thing that I have, I want to bring up to the commission. We need some supplies for the farmer's market.
Okay.
And and what we need, Robin has been working with David and everybody. She was wanting to get stickers to give out to the kids.
Shocking.
Yes. Well, there is some issues about what kind of stickers we can give away.
Sure.
So David and I had brought up the idea of goat stickers.
Love a good goat sticker.
The giveaways have to be marketing
Marketing
related.
with the city, and that's marketing with the city.
It sure is.
We do have a place where we can purchase them.
Mhm.
Some of the kids, it's like kids just want stickers, they love to have stickers.
Don't just make this about kids, Mark.
Okay. Kids in summer love stickers.
Can't be the only one.
I know. So what we're looking at some stickers. We're looking at some bright Post-it notes that we need. This is just for our
Sure.
little box at the farmer's market. Some bright colored dry eraser markers,
Mhm.
and then some regular markers. I just like to make a motion that we get, pull about $60 out of our budget. Robin and I can go shopping.
What about the stickers? We good?
We're gonna do them, they're on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, the stickers are on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, right, Robin?
There are several different companies that make goat stickers.
Right,
I would-
right.
I'll be careful which ones you go for, because some of them look downright satanic.
Well, we'll make sure that they're cutesy, weetsy, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Sounds good.
So, I'd like to make a motion that we, that we get for some supplies, get, $50 to $60 for Robin and I to go out and get some supplies for farmer's market.
I second your shopping trip.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, all in favor of the shopping trip for about
Shopping trip.
$60 or so?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It passes. Get
Okay.
yourself some goat stickers and some
Talk
sticky
to-
notes.
I talked to Kyle, And he said just to swing by and he'll give us a credit card and we just. go
Oh,
for it.
man, it's even good.
You can go wild.
I figure we'll go via Northern Quest and then we'll head down to the Coeur d'Alene and then.
As long as people get Go stickers, we're not gonna question.
A road trip.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm really happy. And I know that Cynthia is no longer with us here at these meetings, but if she were, I'm
She would be-
assured that she would be
flip
just
nuts.
ecstatic. She would be. Okay, anything else? Date changes for July meeting?
Yeah, we're not, I don't believe we're gonna have a quorum because Arlene, myself, Mark and Leah.
What's the date? What is that date?
We're all
Soiree
going
for
to
the
the summer
Soiree.
soiree.
Sure. So what's our next option?
16th.
Well, it doesn't matter, whatever option you make after that, I can't make it anyway, so.
Well, we might have to
I'm
lose you
gonna
for
have
that
to
one.
get exact,
Sure. Okay.
retrace.
I can do either the next day or the next week. Either one's fine.
Rich and I cannot do the next day. Sorry, we're gonna be exhausted.
Really?
We're cooking for the soiree.
No,
Mark.
no, they're our star players.
23rd? Is that what we're looking at, the 23rd maybe?
23rd is good.
I would say the 23rd unless anybody
Okay.
has anything else, and we could, if we need to readjust, we can figure that out quickly. I would say the 23rd, everyone.
Planning
Yep.
Commission might have a meeting that night, but if they don't go till 6, you're okay.
Okay. And you can.
I'm good with that.
Works. Okay, I don't think we need anything official here, do we?
You need a vote to
Change
the meeting.
And we're pretty sure about the commission before us that day? Planning.
If not, I will let you know.
Okay, great. Well, in that case, can I get a motion to change our meeting date?
Motion to change the meeting date to July 23rd for the CEC at 6 PM.
Second.
Everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, it looks like we're going to change our meeting date to the 23rd of July. David will let us know if that has to change. Okay, other upcoming opportunities. I think we kind of talked about this with some events that are upcoming, but anything else?
As part of that, I guess I would ask if somebody wants to volunteer to give the report at the next city hall meeting. That's an opportunity.
That's on the 15th.
That-
I don't
July-
feel like I know
July fir-
enough. but
July
I-
1st.
July
Well,
3rd.
Leah, there's, and also Bill wasn't here, but I said I'd only bother him with things that would, matter to Bill. Somebody could write the report and you could present the report.
July 1st, we're installing our new president for Rotary. And
Fair
so
enough.
Arlene and I won't be available. That
I'm happy to do it and check in with Bill, and he and I can work on that. And anyone who has something wants to send it to me. Does that work for anyone?
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
And this would basically go back to around the time of that workshop, I think, was the last one.
Okay, well, as of now, I will pitch something to Bill, see if he wants to be involved with this too. I'll plan on either giving the update or Bill, I know that's a standing date for him, but work it out. If you're all good with that, it'll be me or Bill or combination of the two of us.
That works for me.
Cool, thanks. All right, anything else?
No.
I would say that this meeting is adjourned.
Any other items for next meeting?
No.
I want to make sure I get them. all.
We just had the neighborhood update going into discussion of the business. And I think we can
Budget requests?
get any budget
Annual report?
requests to Robin, and maybe an update from Robin with where we're at with that, just updated document about what are we actually calling it? The annual report.
Oh, the annual report.
And this means somebody will need to volunteer to do the neighborhood update.
I think if we have a space for it, just on the agenda, we have a space for it. If
Just
anyone,
anybody
bring
wants
your own,
to-
bring your own stuff.
I think it's, yeah.
And if you have something that you found out and you want to email to somebody in that neighborhood and they can find out more, great. Okay?
And Robin said at bar, you have to have handouts.
I'll have stickers and goat stickers by then.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good?
We're
Adjourn.
good.
Thank you.